Have you ever been in a conversation where you felt you had to either compromise your core beliefs or risk offending someone? It's a tough spot, right? On one hand, you want to be faithful to what you hold true. On the other, you genuinely want to respect the person you're talking to, even if they see the world completely differently. This is a huge question in our super-connected, super-diverse world. How do we talk to each other, really talk, without everything just melting into a big pot of, well, that's just your truth? Can we have meaningful dialogue without falling into the trap of relativism, where no belief is seen as more valid than any other? Let's unpack this. Relativism sounds nice on the surface. It suggests that all viewpoints are equally valid. It seems like the ultimate form of tolerance. If your truth is your truth, and my truth is my truth, then who are we to judge? It feels like a shortcut to avoiding conflict. But here's the catch. If all beliefs are equally valid, then does truth even matter? If a belief that leads to kindness is just as valid as one that leads to harm, we've got a serious problem. True dialogue isn't about pretending our differences don't exist or don't matter. It's about engaging with them. So if we throw out relativism, are we doomed to just yell at each other from our own ideological bubbles? I don't think so. There's another way. The key isn't to abandon our convictions, but to hold them with a certain kind of posture, a posture of what some call convicted humility. This might sound like a contradiction, but it's really the secret sauce. Convicted means you are deeply committed to your beliefs. You've thought about them. You've lived them. And they form the core of who you are. This isn't something to be ashamed of or to hide. Your convictions give you a stable place to stand. Without them, you're just adrift. But then comes the humility part. Humility in this context doesn't mean you think you're wrong. It means you recognize that your understanding is incomplete. It means you acknowledge that you are a finite human being with limited perspective, and you could have blind spots. It means accepting that the person you're talking to, no matter how different their views, has their own experiences, their own reasons, and their own humanity. They are not just a walking argument. They are a person. So, how does convicted humility look in a real conversation? First, it means you listen. I mean, really listen. Not just waiting for your turn to speak. Not just listening for flaws in their argument so you can pounce. It's listening to understand. Why do they believe what they believe? What experiences have shaped their view? What are their hopes and fears that are tied to this belief? You listen with curiosity, not with the intent to conquer. This is incredibly disarming. When someone feels genuinely heard, their defenses start to come down. They become more willing to listen to you in return. It transforms the dynamic from a battle into a shared exploration. Second, convicted humility means you ask good questions. Instead of making declarations, try asking questions. Can you help me understand how you came to that conclusion? Or, what experiences have led you to feel so strongly about this? Or, what do you see as the biggest challenge with my perspective? Questions open up space for dialogue, whereas statements can often shut it down. They show that you're not just there to lecture. You're there to engage. You're treating the other person as a conversation partner, not an opponent to be defeated. This honors their dignity and their intelligence. Third, it's about focusing on shared ground where you can. Even in the most polarized disagreements, there's often some shared human value hiding underneath. Maybe you both value safety, or family, or justice, or compassion. You just have very different ideas about how to achieve it. Finding and acknowledging that common ground doesn't mean you're giving up your position. It means you're building a bridge. It reminds both of you that you're part of the same human family, trying to navigate a complex world. For example, in a heated debate about economic policy, one person might prioritize individual freedom and innovation, while the other prioritizes a social safety net and equality. Instead of just fighting over policies, you could start by acknowledging that both of you want a society where people can thrive. That's a powerful starting point. Fourth, and this is crucial, is knowing when to speak your truth. Respecting someone doesn't mean you have to be silent about your own convictions. After you've listened, after you've asked questions, after you've built a bridge of shared humanity, there will be a moment to share your perspective. But you do it with that same humility. You can say things like, "From my perspective, and based on my own experiences, here's how I see it." Or, "I respect where you're coming from, and I'd like to offer a different way of looking at it." You're not presenting your view as the final absolute word from on high. You're presenting it as your deeply held conviction, offered for their consideration. You're adding your piece to the puzzle, not trying to force it into their side. This approach changes the goal of the conversation. The goal is no longer to win the argument. Winning often means the other person loses, which creates resentment and further division. Instead, the goal becomes mutual understanding. And here's the amazing thing. Sometimes in the process of seeking to understand, you both might change. Maybe you'll refine your own position. Maybe you'll see a nuance you missed before. Maybe you won't change your core belief, but you'll change how you hold it with more grace, more compassion, more understanding of those who disagree. And at the very least, you will have preserved the relationship. You can disagree with someone and still love them, still respect them, still be their friend. This is not easy. It requires patience, self-control, and a genuine love for people, even people who drive you crazy. It's a skill that needs practice. You'll mess up. You'll get frustrated. You'll have moments where you fall back into old habits of debating to win. But every conversation is a new opportunity to try again. The alternative living in our echo chambers, demonizing those who disagree, or watering down our beliefs until they mean nothing, is far worse. Relativism offers a false peace, while dogmatic warfare offers no peace at all. The path of convicted humility is the third way, a path toward true, meaningful dialogue. It allows you to be faithful to what you believe is true, while genuinely honoring the humanity in everyone you meet. That's a conversation worth having. So next time you find yourself in one of those difficult conversations, take a deep breath. Remember the goal. Not victory, but understanding. Listen more than you speak. Ask curious questions. Look for the shared humanity. And when you do share your conviction, do it with grace. You might be surprised at the connection you can build, even in the midst of disagreement. Thanks so much for watching. If this resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content on navigating our complex world with courage and compassion. See you in the next one.